The Media Dialogues, Vision 2020.
The month of May has begun with the COVID-19 curve. That's the speed at which the disease spread starting to rise again. Meanwhile, the Indian economy is reeling. If auto majors like Maruti and Mahindra haven't sold a single vehicle in April, the unemployment rate has shot up to 27.1%, according to CMIE. Business leaders expect it'll take 6 months to a year for any kind of normalcy to return. Now, it goes without saying that all of this is a direct blow to advertising and media agencies, and many may be in big trouble. So how are they coping? What will their business model need to be like going forward? And what are they advising their clients at this point of time? Let's ask CVL Srinivas. He's the India country manager for WPP. That's the largest communications company in the world and owns some of India's best known ad agencies. You can see some of them right here. Now, across these agencies, WPP has a team of over 15,000 people and counts some of the biggest companies across sectors as its clients. Now, with a 44% share of the media agency business, it's the market leader by a long way. Srini, thank you very much for joining us today. Tell me first, how have these last 2 months been like? It must be very long, right?
Yes, firstly, thank you for having me on your show, Anuradha. Delighted to be speaking with you today. It's been, yes, very challenging and a very different last 6-7 weeks. All of us cooped up at home and working remotely. Of course, staying in touch with our teams, with our clients. It's been challenging, but it's been, I would say, very interesting. Lots of learning and lots of fun as well.
So Srini, we are hearing of a lot of businesses, especially in the MSME sector, facing an existential threat. Many are nervous about whether they will survive or not going forward. What is the scenario when it comes to advertising and media agencies? Are they more protected because they're part of large global networks at this point of time?
Well, obviously, like other sectors, the ad sector as well is facing its own set of pressures and challenges. Don't forget, not very long ago, a lot of studies were put out in terms of what the ADEX growth rate is going to be this year. And we ourselves, the Group MTY predicted a number of 12.6% for calendar year 20 over 19. Most other studies also spoke about 11, 12, 13% kind of a growth. If you look at the actual numbers, first quarter, Jan, March this year, the whole industry, even before COVID, the ADEX grew by a mere 5%. And April, our estimate is we're down 80 to 85% versus same month last year. And it's going to take another couple of months for things to come back to some sense of stability. So yes, the ad sector is challenged pretty much like the other sectors. But having said that, I think the businesses that have been around for a while, have acquired a certain kind of scale, have deep client relationships, should most definitely be able to weather the storm, this year.
Right. Take us through the lockdown impact on business processes, whether it's a creative agency, a digital agency, events companies, PR, because all of these services and functions are what WPP agencies offer to its clients.
Yeah, so, even before we went into the COVID phase, as you're aware, WPP has been on this journey to kind of transform and become a lot more agile and relevant to our clients. So we have, as a support structure in India, we've come up with a 5-point agenda, which we're driving pretty aggressively and have been doing so for more than a year now.
Sure.
So firstly, it's all about client centricity for us. It is how do we get people working across different agencies that we have, different domains that we have, creative, media, research, PR, etc., to work in a more joined up manner when it comes to clients, because most of our clients are common across different agencies. So today, for the top almost 10 clients, we work in a very, very integrated fashion, very different from the way it was before we had this WPP support structure in market. So client centricity is number one. Secondly, for us, it's all about trying to reimagine all the businesses we're in, with technology and data really becoming the core.
Right.
And this is again a journey we've been on for a couple of years. So earlier, it was obviously the media agencies that took the lead, investing in data stacks, investing in platforms, partnerships, etc. But today you actually pretty much need that across the board, whether you're a creative agency, a PR company, or a research agency. So we've taken a lot of those learnings, a lot of those partnerships, and we today have a lot of our other businesses also going through transformation, around technology, data, and all of that. The third area of focus was talent-led initiatives across the spectrum of WPP companies that we launched some months ago. And then, of course, trying to become a lot more nimble as a company, simplifying back office, moving everyone into one campus. All of these measures have actually made us a lot stronger and, able to cope with the kind of pressures we're facing today.
Is there any anxiety at all about the kind of relevance that this industry will have in a scenario where your clients and your businesses are not manufacturing anything for the most part of it? A lot of sectors are actually just shut.
Well, actually, you'll be quite surprised to know that a lot of work has gone on in the last couple of months, that all of us have been working remotely. Yes, on the one hand, the traditional advertising kind of work did come down, but then a lot of our clients took our help in areas like getting a deeper understanding of the consumer, figuring out what's happening with different channels, looking at what's happening to media consumption, and helping them kind of, rejig their portfolios in some cases and plan on coming out stronger post this crisis. And then let's not forget that there have been a few categories and brands that have been active through the last 6-8 weeks as well. We've seen campaigns across media channels, not just on digital channels, social media channels, but on mass media as well. We see it as a temporary kind of a setback in terms of, clients cutting down on ad spends. Obviously, most of them were focused on just managing the here and now over the last few weeks, ensuring their supply lines got going, ensuring the factories got going. And it's only in the last few days that we've seen activity picking up there. So yes, I think going forward, we will see spends coming back.
Use anecdotally an illustration about how a campaign has been managed or how brand communication has been managed using different functions in the past month or so?
Yeah, well, we've had some interesting campaigns for clients. You've seen the very visible Make Your Own Mask campaign that Vanderman Thompson worked on for the Times of India group. That is something which is done completely in a very different way and working remotely, and of course, working very closely with the client. One of our clients came up with a range of hand sanitizers, and this particular client was not in that business at all. And one of our agencies, which is into branding and creating brand identities, came up with packaging concept pretty much overnight. Landor was the agency that worked on this particular project. And there have been several other such examples which have forced agencies to come up with processes that are able to deliver value in a short span of time. And it's happened across the board, across channels. Again, Ogilvy's work for the government of India, the Mask Force campaign, which I'm sure all of you have seen, was another terrific example of how, even in times like these, creativity literally knows no boundaries.
I'm glad you used the word creativity. Tell me, are clients looking for creativity at this point? What are they looking for when they're talking to you? What are their deepest anxieties? Also, what are their priorities at this point? And where is it that agency partners are expected to really chip in?
Well, I think it's firstly to do with being able to operate with a lot more speed and agility than we've ever done in the past. And I think agencies are up to the challenge, and as has been demonstrated in the last couple of months, I think, like I mentioned, a lot of the work that we've done proves that we're up to it. The other is to join the dots and try and deliver a solution that really impacts the client's business, because in the short run, everyone's worried about flagging sales, etc. And how do we do that? And then the third is to get a much deeper understanding of the consumer and the changing behaviors, especially, and do it a lot quicker. So, which means maybe some of the traditional methods of research will not work any longer. One has to be a lot quicker in terms of understanding changing behaviors, the trends, and using that to look at opportunities that clients can spot to kind of grow their business.
Are there new areas that agencies can offer clients, support on?
more of the communication and engagement with consumers expected to shift to digital media, online platforms. I think there are quite a few areas agencies can lend support in. I think, like I said, first and foremost, is going back and getting a deeper and richer understanding of the consumer, and doing that in a way which is a lot more dynamic. From there, of course, getting a better grip of all the platforms, especially all the new emerging platforms, the kind of content pieces that work with them on these platforms, so on and so forth. And e-com is another area where I think agencies can help their clients navigate this new channel, because it's a channel where one cannot just distribute products, but also kind of communicate, stay engaged with consumers, etc. So that's another emerging area which I'm sure all agencies will kind of take note of. But if you step back and look at a more macro picture, I'm sure a lot of our clients are going to be reimagining their portfolios. They're going to be relooking at what is more relevant going forward in terms of brands, in terms of SKUs, etc. So, working with the ones, especially the ones where we have a deep knowledge of their brands, of their categories for like many years, those are again areas that we can kind of contribute to.
I want to talk about the industry as a whole, and WPP, given its stature and just the sheer scope and volume of its business in India. Are there things that you can do unitedly? And given how competitive this business is, will COVID-19 bring about a little bit more collective, collaborative action in this space? And does it need to happen?
Yes, most definitely. Like in every other sector, I think the advertising sector is no different. While we, exist as independent agencies and compete with one another day in and day out, when it comes to working together for the betterment of the industry, it's not that we've not done it. We've done it in the past many a time. 3 Years of Eye is a very active, vibrant body that gets all advertisers onto the same page, and has worked very effectively over the years in dealing with all kinds of crisis situations, or wherever there have been kind of tectonic shifts in the industry. And this of course is perhaps the biggest one. So I'm sure we will all put our heads together, as we're already doing now, in fact, and see how do we kind of.
Is there anything that you'd like to put on that agenda when that meeting happens, or as it's happening? What would you like to see top of the agenda?
Primary focus, according to me, would be the talent that we have in the industry, and how do we kind of not just support the talent, but how do we kind of harness the talent to bring about change. And again, this is purely my personal view, but I really think we have underleveraged the kind of talent we have in our industry, especially at the mid and junior levels. I would actually personally like to see a lot more of our folks who work at the mid and junior levels come into these industry bodies and help these industry bodies take a more, futuristic approach to guiding the industry. I think there's only that much people who kind of been around for decades can do, especially in times like this. I really think we need to harness the talent we have at those levels of the organization. We're doing it within our companies, but I think as an industry body, that would be something I really wish they would do.
Srini, you've been talking about talent, people. These are words, which are absolutely synonymous, and possibly the pillars on which the advertising and media agencies rest on. Now, we know that most companies, including at WPP, a lot of effort has gone into engaging with your teams and with your employees and staff and people. It could be webinars, it could be upskilling, training sessions, it could be town halls, communication and all of that. But I think one key concern, and this is not just for your industry, but since we're talking to you, I'm going to keep it focused on the A&M industry, and that is jobs, anxiety about being able to hold on to jobs, anxiety about whether there'll be pay cuts, whether, furlough is a word that has now suddenly become very bandied about a lot. People are getting familiar with this word. Give us a sense of what you're seeing on that front and what you need to tell people to make them feel less stressed about this anxiety.
Yeah, well, we're obviously living in very challenging times, and I think first and foremost, everyone at all levels needs to just recognize the extent of the crisis and try and be a bit realistic about it. And look, at one level, we are as an organization looking at everything else that we can do, which is preferable to before we look at any kind of layoff. So right now, it's all about ensuring there are voluntary salary cuts, starting of course with the senior management. It's cutting down on all kinds of discretionary expenditure going forward, and a lot of the things were already set in motion here. Like I said, in terms of bringing in a lot more synergy within an organization, consolidating back office, etc. In fact, a lot of that had already happened much before COVID. So through a lot of these initiatives, we are just hoping that it minimizes the chances of having to let go of people. That's really is the ultimate last resort. But having said that, my message to all folks is, end of the day, India is a land of opportunity. All said and done, I don't think there's any other market in the world which has the kind of potential that India has in all sectors, including our sector, including the advertising sector. The other thing to look at is the advantages India has as a market for the rest of the globe. In terms of, earlier India was looked at as a low-cost destination to kind of ship out back office work, etc. But I think that's changed drastically in the last few years. To give you a few examples, we have 3 marketing automation hubs that are based in India in different cities that work with some of the most marketing savvy and tech savvy clients globally. We have one of the world's largest post-production units of WPP run by a company, Kogat, in Chennai. That's been up and running for almost a year and a half now. Kantar, which is still an associate company of WPP, yes, has many of their global hubs in India doing some very high-end work in analytics, etc. Group M has 2 big hubs, Neo and Essence, both based out of India, contributing a lot to global clients from here. That's another huge opportunity for us, at least as a company going forward. So I think there are more things to look up to than feel negative about as we come out of this.
Well, that's good to hear. I'm sure this is one of your primary concerns as, the head of WPP in India. Srini, give me a sense of where you are on this livelihood versus life trade-off debate that has gained momentum in the past few weeks. And you have a whole lot of people, especially from industry, saying, hey, we need to open up and figure out how to get the economy jump-started. And then you have the government obviously being very, very cautious. Where are you weighing in on that debate?
Look, to start with, I don't think we could afford to have a plan B. We had to do what we did, and so we are totally supportive of the government actions taken to call for lockdowns and enforce them very, very strictly, across all cities. And I personally think that has helped a great deal in controlling the numbers and also getting our medical services and other support services bolstered up in case kind of things gave way later on. So kudos to the actions that were taken then. Yes, there is a lot of talk right now in terms of the economy, in terms of ensuring people have their livelihoods, etc. And I'm sure the government is going to come out soon with a few more announcements, which will help kickstart the economy going forward. But I think so far, whatever has happened in the best interest of the country.
Okay. Srini, we are going to have to close the show. I'm going to ask you to just leave us with where you think we land at the end of this and what has been your personal coping mechanism in what I'm guessing is an extremely challenging and stressful time.
Yeah, I think where we come out of this, firstly, we'll all come out a lot more agile and nimble-footed as organizations, as individuals. I think we have the kind of digital transformation this has brought about, we couldn't have imagined happening over even a decade, I guess. So I think that's good for business. I think productivity levels are going to shoot up. Everything is going to be looked at with a COVID kind of a lens. If we could do this with COVID, why can't we do it now kind of a thing? And and then there's going to be opportunity for, I guess, newer kinds of brands and services. Technology and data is something which not just marketers, brands, obviously agencies need to quickly kind of adapt to and use to kind of pivot their businesses and come up with exciting stuff. And more than all of this, I think for India as a market, India as a nation, the time has really come. And this is, the biggest opportunity we could have imagined for us to really make a mark on the global stage at all levels, as organizations, as a nation, as people, whatever.
Right. Srini, is there any nostalgia for pre-COVID times? I mean, this time of the year, you would be getting ready to fly off to Cannes, isn't it? And other international festivals after that. Is there any nostalgia for those good old days before COVID? And are those good old days gone for good?
I'm one of those odd guys in the industry who wouldn't really, attend too many of those award functions in any case. So, no, frankly, I'm not missing out any of that. No.
Okay. All right, Srini, we're going to let you go. We wish you a lot of good luck, and everybody, at WPP, our best wishes. Stay safe, stay healthy, and we're going to have many more conversations as the year unfolds, because this is really, really unusual what we are living through, isn't it? Thank you, Srini.
Yes, thanks for having me, Anuradha. Take care. Bye.
Bye. And thank you very much for watching us. Do look out for more conversations on the Media Dialogues, and stay tuned to CNBC TV 18 for all the latest news and analysis.
The Media Dialogues, Vision 2020.